So have you ever wondered what goes on inside of a stock muffler? Today we've taken a stock Bronco muffler, but it could be on any vehicle. The stock mufflers will change in terms of size and shape and configuration, but what happens inside of the muffler is largely similar. The major components of the muffler are here to do multiple things. So we'll kind of walk through what's going on. The exhaust is going to enter the muffler through this point. In this case, it kind of goes through a perforated piece of metal, a baffle. It's going to mix up the sound, but also you can see that it is a bit of a wall, right? So the exhaust is going to hit this, and the flow, the fluid dynamics, is going to get disrupted first right here. It's going to enter this chamber where the exhaust is going to settle, if you will, and have to find its way out. There's two ways out from this chamber, one on each side of the configuration. This side enters this passage, which has no exit. We're going to talk about that in a minute. This side has a hole that goes into another chamber where the exhaust will flow and have to find a way out, which is entering this tube and going out of the vehicle. So in the industry, when we say that we have a chambered or baffled muffler, reverse flow, right? You see here all those terms. This is an example of what is meant by reverse flow. So the gases, which is a fluid, will enter a chamber, change direction, have to change 180-degree direction, reversing the flow, and then exit the muffler. All of that gymnastics, if you will, that it has to go through in this portion of the muffler takes energy. And that energy is measured in back pressure, and back pressure is something that the engine sees as work. And that takes horsepower and keeps some of that power from going to the back wheels. So that's one of the ways that you will lose power by a stock type muffler. Now, the guys at the factory aren't stupid about this, right? They're not like trying to take power away. They do have very specific criteria in terms of acceptable sound and harmonics or boom, resonance, etc. And they have to meet those criteria in order to go to market. So again, they're doing all of these things very specifically for a reason. So for their acceptance criteria, a very smart design. From the aftermarket standpoint, we have different acceptance criteria, and we will skin the cat a little differently. And performance sound, actual performance going to the road, and weight, space, size, those are the things that we will look at in the aftermarket, and we'll make trade-offs and compromises that benefit the customer that are looking for those attributes. All right, I said I'd come back to this side of the muffler. So we have a couple things happening here. One is we have a bunch of little holes in this screen and this big hole, right? So the little holes are going to allow sound to enter this fiberglass packed section. Call this a pillow. This is like putting a pillow over your mouth and talking, right? So this is going to absorb sound. This is the quieting feature. This chamber has no pillow in it. And what it is doing is it is an acoustic chamber that is managing a harmonic frequency that triggers the boom or the resonance that we really find annoying as we drive the vehicle. So we're managing resonance here, managing sound here, managing a little bit of sound, causing the exhaust to stay in an area a little bit longer. Yes, that's back pressure, but that also helps this sound absorbing section absorb more sound. different configurations on different vehicles can have different size chambers, different quantities of chambers, different proportions of pillow versus whatever, right? So there's a lot of science that goes on inside of this little box. Again, our challenge is to make this box smaller and do very specific work better than this for our performance enthusiast reasons.